I grew up in Australia where the Master System was more popular than the NES. It was the same way in Europe and Brazil. I will say the marketing for the Master System in Australia was better than that for the NES. The commercials you're looking at now are Australian Master System commercials. I can still remember them back in the late 80s, early 90s. When I was in school, most of my friends preferred the Master System over the NES. And I'll say many of the great NES RPGs didn't come to PAL region, such as the Final Fantasy games and Dragon Warrior. But Phantasy Star did come to PAL region for Master System, and many Europeans I know say Phantasy Star was their first JRPG. Anyways, I'll get stuck into my 20 favourite Master System games list now. The original Space Harrier was the first Space Harrier game I played, and it looked futuristic for its time, 3D, and I love sci-fi. And I like how Space Harrier goes for a 1970s sci-fi aesthetic. The game is hard though, and it's hard to judge where the enemy fire is coming, but there is a cheat for unlimited lives and an easy mode. The Master System was more powerful than the NES, and I think this game was a great demonstration of that. I like the original Fantasy Zone because I could get much further in the game. Even though I can't beat the original Fantasy Zone, I can get near the end. Fantasy Zone 2 is even harder. I just like the simplicity of the first Fantasy Zone game, and just like the sequel, the first game is very colourful. Don't know what else to say, but it's very charming and lovely to play even now. It was released during a time when people weren't worried about hard games. They could still enjoy a game even if they can't beat it and even if the game's hard. And with the way the game looks, it's a pleasure to play and fun. It may not look difficult in the footage you're seeing, but the game does get much harder later on. Truthfully, the first system I played this game on was the Amiga 500, and even though it's much more powerful than the Master System, the Amiga version of the game is terrible. And people say the Master System version of Outrun is also better than the Mega Drive version, because the Master System version, it just runs more smoothly. It has a great sense of speed, even though the graphics take a bit of a downgrade. The graphics still retain a nice tropical setting, but yeah, the game is lots of fun. I'm someone who doesn't like many racing games, but I did enjoy this game. I couldn't beat it, but my brother could, and I remember cheering him on and watching him beat this game. Yes, I know the story for Alex Kidd. He was supposed to be Sega's mascot instead of Sonic. And this game came installed with Master System consoles. It was one of the first Master System games I played, so that's why I find it memorable. Yeah, I know the game has issues, but I remember playing it with my friends and they were wowed because I could get much further in the game than they could. And I like how, even though it's another platformer, it adds a bit of combat. You can punch enemies and punch blocks to reveal hidden things. The game was colourful for its time, and you could use vehicles. Yeah, there's games for the Master System that are objectively better than this game that I won't have before it, but nonetheless, like I said, it's nostalgia. This game was one of the first Master System games I played. I nearly forgot to mention the rock, paper, scissors matches against some of the bosses. If you lose those matches, you lose a life, and there's no saves or passwords, so yeah, that's something holding this game back. I like the Master System version of Castle of Illusion a lot more than the Mega Drive version. The Master System version allows for more exploration, whereas the Mega Drive version tries to be like a Mario game and relies on precise platforming. The Mega Drive version has a nice darker atmosphere, but I like the colourful style in the Master System version. Anyways, this game, just like the Mega Drive version in the remake, has light puzzle elements and you can throw objects at enemies. I'm not a fan of having to hold down when you jump to defeat an enemy, but otherwise this game is lots of fun. It's colourful and great to look at and plays well. And I won't lie, I also like the Master System version of this game because I find it a fair bit easier than the Mega Drive version. This might sound like a strange choice, but I mentioned in other videos how most Australians live near the coastline, and it influences our taste in games, such as many of my friends at school like the Mega Drive game Green Dog because of its surfing beach theme. Anyways, I remember me and my friends at school would gather around and watch people play this game, and my friend, we used his Master System. He had only one controller, but I've read this game was fun for multiplayer. Surfing in a tropical theme, what's not to like? Even though I've never been into skating, many of my friends also like to go to the skating ring near where I lived, and I used to go with them and watch them. It was just relaxing to hang out, and I liked watching my friends play this game. And as you can see, there was other things that were nice to look at in this game. Roller skating on the side of the beach. I know the movie Alien 3 wasn't liked by many people, but the Master System game is fairly good. Yes, I know it also came out on 16-bit systems and 16-bit versions are better, but when I played this game, most people I knew owned 8-bit consoles, and in Australia, most of my friends owned a Master System, and they talked about how great this game was because of its atmosphere, going for the darker atmosphere of the movie, the gritty sci-fi feel, and I guess the tension and horror. You're worried you're going to get killed by xenomorph, and mixed platforming and puzzle elements. The game allows you to use weapons, and you need to explore and find prisoners and find your way through the environments. It was a tough game, especially with a strict time limit, but people liked it because it was different. Truthfully, I wasn't a huge fan of the Sonic games on the Master System. It was Sonic 2 for Mega Drive that got me into the series. Nonetheless, I liked this game enough for it to be my top 20 Master System games. As we all know, it has a good amount of speed. I like how it goes for tropical environments as well as futuristic and colourful. The game has a lot of cheap deaths, speed. It's a fun game, don't get me wrong, but I think there's much better platformers on the Master System. But Sonic, he was just so marketable, like the catchy music and the speed, and Sega really needed a mascot for their system, just like Nintendo had Mario. Sonic 1 for Master System is better than Sonic 2 for Master System because it doesn't have as many cheap deaths. But I think with Sonic 2 for the Mega Drive, the series really came into its own with its great level designs, which finally took advantage of Sonic's speed and added a great more deal of fun factor and playability. And then with Sonic the Hedgehog 3, especially Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I think Sonic 3 and Knuckles is one of the best 2D platformers ever made. Same with the Mega Drive version of Sonic 2. Psycho Fox was a great platformer back in the day. Its momentum-based platforming takes a bit to get used to, but I like how your character can transform into other animals with different abilities, and the game lets you continue an unlimited amount of times after a game over. I don't like how you need to jump on an enemy 2 times to defeat that enemy, but I like how you can throw a bird companion at enemies and it keeps coming back to you, and you can punch enemies. And as you can see, the game is very colourful. I can still remember playing this game back in the early 90s and it was so much fun. I love Shinobi on the Master System, hint hint. Alex Kidd in Shinobi World has similar gameplay to Shinobi and has music from Shinobi while still having a fair bit of challenging platforming later in the game. As you'd expect, you can use a sword, you can use darts as projectiles, and you have some very acrobatic jumping abilities, and there's other abilities such as being able to turn into a tornado. I like how the game goes about difficulty, as in some of the later levels it gets very challenging, and even though there's no password or save system, the game is short, so you're supposed to beat it in one sitting, same like Super Mario Brothers. But it's a game that even if you beat it quickly, you want to keep coming back to it. The game has a high amount of fun factor, and it's definitely a challenge, so even if you beat the game, you'll want to keep coming back to it many times. Yes, Golvilius is a Zelda-inspired game, but it's a good one. You have a top-down exploration like in a Zelda game, and searching for items and more powerful weapons. But to make things a bit different, it has side-scrolling segments and sections where the screen will auto-scroll and you need to move from bottom to top and take out enemies coming at you like in a shoot 'em up. The game had a high amount of playability, and it's not as good as Zelda, but it was good. The Master System was getting action-adventure games and RPGs, especially for PAL region. The first Heist game, I'm not even going to try to pronounce all of its name, it was a great game to have for the Master System. Again, I was happy the Master System was getting RPGs for PAL region, and the Master System version of Heist is better than the NES version. All great RPG series have to start somewhere, and Heist started with this game. Its story was trying to set a platform for future games without trying too hard to tell a story in the first game. Its premise was interesting enough. It let you feel like adult Christian was going to go on lots of adventures in the future. The story has mysticism and is interesting, and like I said, it doesn't try too hard, and the combat with the bump mechanics is a nice change to turn-based. It makes level grinding feel less tedious. Like I said, this game set a great premise for a great series. Wonder Boy 3 for Master System, not the remake, was such a fun game. I remember when I was in school, many people talked about how great the Wonder Boy series was, because it mixed RPG elements with platforming. Wonder Boy 3 is regarded as the best in the series. It just executes everything well, and it's colourful, and you don't have to worry about dying after one hit, and you have unlimited continues. The game also allowed you to transform into different forms that have different abilities, and you can explore the world in a non-linear way. You can revisit areas you've already been to. Many people who played it back in the day said it was one of the best platformers at the time. Yes, here we have another Zelda clone. The only thing is, some people actually say Golden Axe Warrior is even better than the original Zelda. It looks better than the original Zelda, although people say the original Zelda's world layout has more polish and the combat for Zelda is better, but Golden Axe Warrior, people say, has a better story. I personally like the lore for Golden Axe. I remember when I was a kid, I actually read some of the Golden Axe novels and played numerous Golden Axe games on the Mega Drive, as well as Revenge of Death Adder at the arcade. So I really got into the lore for Golden Axe. And even though the game is inspired by Zelda, this game is still one of the best games on the Master System. Don't forget, Nintendo have been inspired by many games in the past when it comes to their own IPs. I mean, Breath of the Wild gets given the nickname Breath of the Skyrim for a reason, and copying off Skyrim wasn't necessarily a bad thing. As far as I know, Asterix didn't get released in North America, only for PAL region for Master System. So it's another reason the Master System wasn't popular in North America. I know the Master System wasn't marketed well in North America. Anyways, Asterix is definitely one of the best games on the Master System. Look at its graphics for 8-bit. It's so colourful. The platforming is great. It has charm. The game has the right amount of difficulty, even though the platforming can pick up in difficulty later. The game gives you unlimited continues. Yes, many Master System platformers were generous in that way. The game controlled well, had co-op, and multiple characters of different abilities. Yes, another Aladdin game. The Master System version of Aladdin is different to the Mega Drive and SNES versions. The Master System version has very little combat. It's more about the platforming itself, and you need to be stealthy. Now, the game looked so good, and the level designs were so fun. Some of the artwork for the game looks stunning even now. Even though the game isn't as good as the Mega Drive version, obviously, the Mega Drive version of Aladdin is one of my favourite 2D platformers ever. I like this game nearly as much as the SNES version. Wonder why I don't see more people talk about this game. Then again, I still meet lots of gamers who think the Mega Drive and the SNES versions of Aladdin were the same, and they might assume the Master System version of Aladdin is just a watered down version of the Mega Drive. No, it's a totally different game, and it's great in its own way. And just like many Master System platformers, this game is a bit on the forgiving side as it has a password system. Now here's a game that's universally acclaimed as one of the best Master System games by nearly everyone. The Master System version of Shinobi, I think, is much better than the arcade version because you don't die in one hit and you don't need to rescue all the hostages. Even though this game was developed by Sega, it actually also got released on the NES, but the Master System version looks much better than the NES version. Although the Master System version obviously doesn't look anywhere near as good as the arcade version, but like I said, I still like the Master System version much more than the arcade version. But yeah, the game is lots of fun, taking out enemies with shurikens and just jumping all over the place, and the platforming is challenging but fun, and when you get close to enemies you can take them out with melee attacks. I've just read that Tengen released the NES version of this game, and they were known for releasing unofficial versions of games. I could almost beat the arcade version with just a few lives, so when I heard the Master System version allowed you to take multiple hits, I knew I was going to beat the game. Many of my friends at school loved this game as well. Funny thing is, my friends at school couldn't even beat the Master System version of this game though, but they still loved it. It was a tough choice between number 3 and number 2 for my list, because they're both great Disney platformers. Anyways, for number 3 I went with Land of Illusion. Its level designs are so fun and creative. You need to make use of many special abilities to traverse the levels, the controls are tight, and the graphics are beautiful. It's one of the best looking 8-bit games, period. There's not much else I can say except for it's easily one of the best Master System games. And once again, it's another Master System platformer that's very accessible, gives you unlimited continues. The story scenes for the game are worth watching. I think this game is a must-play for people who want to experience the best of the Master System. Many people will probably say the Lucky Dime Caper is objectively not as good as most of the other platformers I have on my list, but it's the one I like the most. Part of the reason is because it's the first Disney game I played on the Master System, and Disney games during the 8-bit and 16-bit gens were often memorable. I also loved watching DuckTales when I came home from school when I was 5 and 6 years old back in the late 80s. In this game you're Donald Duck rescuing Huey, Dewey and Louie. When I saw the box art for this game I knew I was going to love it. But yeah, I like the level designs, they are creative and wacky and fun, and I like how Donald can use a hammer and frisbee as weapons. He can still defeat enemies by jumping on them, and the levels have good diversity. There's tropical, mountains, ancient sites, etc. And as you probably guessed, this is another very accessible Disney platformer for the Master System. You get unlimited continues. It's a good game for all ages, and it's my favourite platformer for the Master System. For number 1, I have no other than Phantasy Star. It was probably easy to guess with all the hints I gave. Phantasy Star is actually my favourite 8-bit game. It felt so fresh. While it wasn't the first RPG to use sci-fi elements, Phantasy Star went heavily sci-fi. Its towns have a sci-fi aesthetic, and the game has a very Star Wars feel. Even the developer said they wanted to give the game a Star Wars vibe. The story might seem basic for today's standards, but the story had some emotion and the characters had chemistry for a game for its time. The presentation was unreal for its time. It was like you were watching an anime. The detail in the story scenes and the towns and the dungeons were incredible for their time. This game pushed the Master System to its limits. The NES wouldn't have been able to handle the graphics for this game. It's not just sci-fi, but it's also artistic and colourful. I like how, when you're exploring the world map, you get a top-down view, but when you are traversing dungeons and you encounter enemies, you get a first-person view. And yes, I know other RPGs did this first, but I think it's great Phantasy Star does this, because when you're traversing the very colourful, brightly coloured dungeons in first-person mode, it makes things look even more spectacular and surreal. As you can see, when you talk to the NPCs up close, there's so much detail. And yes, a turn-based battle system, but using laser weapons is cool. You get to travel to different planets with diverse environments. I'll quickly add, just like with the NES, many of the great SNES JRPGs didn't come to PAL region. Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 4 and 6 didn't come to PAL region for SNES, whereas PAL region got Phantasy Star 2, 3 and 4 and Shining Force 1 and 2. Phantasy Star 2 actually got me into JRPGs. Even though I already owned a Master System, it was Phantasy Star 2 that made me want to go and play the original Phantasy Star, and I realised what an amazing game I had missed out on, and in my opinion, the best 8-bit game period. That wraps up my video for my 20 favourite Master System games. Take care.